Hello dear friends, students and all those who are watching my YouTube channel. I am Sanjay Gheji and I welcome you all to my YouTube channel. This is my fifth video in the series on refrigeration. In last video, I explained how to solve a problem of a VCRS cycle by using pH chart. If you missed or skipped out that part, please watch it using the link given in the description below. So last time we have solved a problem using pH charts, but the same problem can also be solved by using the property tables of a given refrigerant, and that's what I am going to explain you today. So let's start with the problem statement. So look at the screen, I will read out for you the problem statement. The same problem: a 15 tons R134A refrigeration plant has a saturation suction temperature of minus 26 degrees Celsius. The condensation takes place at plus 40 degrees Celsius. Assuming simple saturated vapor compression, find the following. Now here this is the original problem where it is said to be using pH chart, but the same problem we are trying to solve by we will solve by using the property tables. That what we want to see what difference it makes. Okay, that's another method. Let's see. We have to find COP of the plant, mass flow rate of a refrigerant, power required to run the plant and kilowatt, power required per ton of refrigeration, theoretical piston displacement rate per ton of refrigeration, heat rejection in condenser, and heat rejection ratio. Okay, now get to the solution part. Before that, let us understand the given scenario or the situation. 15 tons, it doesn't mean the weight of the system, it is the refrigeration capacity. So for 15 ton of refrigeration is the capacity. R134A is the type of refrigerant used in the plant. It has a saturated suction temperature of minus 26 degrees Celsius. This temperature, saturated suction temperature, relates to evaporating temperature. Okay, so, and the condensation temperature, that is condensing temperature, is also given. So two temperature limits are given: low temperature limit, high temperature limit, and we have to assume simple saturated vapor compression cycle. So type of cycle is also given. Okay, so let us in this way we have written down the given data. Okay, so it is a case of a simple saturation cycle. Let me take you to this. Okay, so in this way the given case can be represented on a pH and TS diagram. Okay, this is a sketch of a simple saturation cycle. Okay, where it is working between this condensing temperature limit of plus 40 degrees Celsius and evaporating temperature limit of minus 26 degrees Celsius. Corresponding to this TC, condensing temperature, there is a condensing pressure. Corresponding to evaporating temperature, there is a corresponding evaporator pressure. Okay. Now in the last video we obtained all the required property values by using the pH diagram like this. We actually use this pH diagram and we actually plotted all those cycles or all those processes onto the pH chart, and we directly read out the required values. But this time we are going to use the property tables which are available in this form, which are available for the saturated, liquid and vapor conditions. Okay, now we are going to use this. Okay, now see here what values are required. So we require for end states 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so let's start from the 1. Now 1 is that the saturated vapor condition. Okay, this is the saturated vapor curve. It is at this evaporating temperature minus 26 degrees Celsius. Okay, and the other saturation temperature is plus 40 degrees Celsius. Now let's go to the saturation table. So this is the saturation table. Now the property values are available for respective saturation temperatures. All the properties are related to saturation conditions. Here you can see liquid and vapor, liquid vapor, liquid vapor. That is values are available for saturated liquid curve and saturated vapor curve. Okay, now here let us find the minus 26 degrees Celsius. So the temperature rho is available here. So we can get or we can extract this data, all these values we can get from here. So we'll pick this row. It is not necessary to use all these variables or all these properties. As per the requirement, or only the whatever part of the data is required, only that part can be taken from this. Okay, no need to copy it everything, but for your clear understanding at this time, as you are a beginner, I am taking down everything. Okay, I'm taking the entire row. So minus 26 degrees Celsius, these properties I copied down, and I listed out like this. Okay, so minus T evaporating temperature minus 26 degrees Celsius, and these many properties I have written down: pressure, specific volume of vapor in meter cube per kg, specific heat of vapor in kilojoule per kg Kelvin Cp, specific entropy for liquid and vapor kilojoule per kg Kelvin, and specific enthalpy for liquid and vapor kilojoule per kg HF and Hg. Here see, F is for the saturated liquid condition, and G suffix is for saturated vapor condition. Okay, likewise SF, Sg, HF, Hg. Okay, so these many values I have taken from this table. Okay, this is the property table. I don't need the density of liquid, so I didn't take it, and also don't need the specific heat of liquid. So barring these two columns, I have taken down the rest of the data. Okay, in the similar fashion, I will look for the plus 40 degrees Celsius here. Okay, now here it is not available. I will move to next page. So this is the next page, and this is the 40 degrees Celsius line. Okay, so in front of it all the saturation properties are available. So extracted this data and presented here at this row. Okay, this row is for minus 26, this row for plus 40. Okay, presenting this way helps us understand the data clearly, and it also avoids the confusion while using the respective data. Okay, so it is a good practice to have a tabular data. Okay, let us now take the properties one by one. For state 1, that is saturated vapor condition. Now see, these are the values available for saturation condition, that is saturated vapor and saturated liquid conditions. For point number 1 and point number 3 is coming on to saturated condition. So these are directly available. We don't need to evaluate or calculate anything from this. So directly values are available. So for 1, the primary properties required are enthalpy, entropy, and the other ones. Okay, the other properties like density, specific heat can be taken as per the requirement. Okay, so plus this point number 1. For point number 1, go to this temperature row minus 26 degrees Celsius. Read the pressure, read the enthalpy value H, which is applicable here. So this point relates to this specific enthalpy of vapor Hg. Okay, so for this it will read enthalpy at 1, this will be 382.94 enthalpy of specific enthalpy of vapor, and entropy will be seen here. This is a TS diagram. Sg relating to specific vapor, so S1 will be equal to 1.7476. Okay, apart from enthalpy and entropy, I need one more value, that is specific volume of vapor, saturated vapor, because it is required to find the piston displacement rate in the later stages. So specific volume is also taken down from this. So this and this, all three values are directly available from property table. So these are listed like this here: H1, Hg1, S1, Sg1, and V1. Okay, now let us move on to next point, that is after compression. We know that compression process is the isentropic compression. Okay, isentropic compression. So end point of the after the compression will be in superheated state. Okay, so for this point number 2, we cannot get any value directly from this table. We have to calculate enthalpy or entropy for this part. We have to take the reference of this saturation data, and we have to use some other property relations, and then by calculating we have to evaluate the final property value, final enthalpy of this. Okay, then to do that, for point number 2 at being at condenser pressure, corresponding to this point 2, there is a saturation vapor condition. Corresponding saturation vapor condition is lying at this point, at the saturation vapor curve, denoted by 2 dash. Okay, so for 2 dash values can be easily available from this table because it is on saturated vapor curve. So go for the temperature of 40 degrees Celsius plus 40 and read the required values of enthalpy and entropy. Okay, so enthalpy of this 2 dash will be come to this row, and enthalpy of vapor is this. Okay, so Tc and this enthalpy of vapor 419.58. so this value is obtained, that like H2 dash, which is equal to Hg2 Hg2 saturated vapor enthalpy. In the same way, for this 2 dash, entropy can be read for the same row, and S2 dash equal to Sg2, that will be 1.7115. Okay, also we need the specific heat at this condition, which is also available from this table, that is for vapor 1.12, that is required to find out the final enthalpy. Okay, so these three values are available, and these are listed like this here. For state 2 dash, all the values are listed out. Now there is a relation between 2 and 2 dash for the entropy in the superheated region. Now this is required to find the temperature T2, that is superheated temperature T2. Here you can see this is the T2, which is greater than the condensing temperature. Discharge temperature of compressor is always greater than the condensing temperature. We have to find out this T2 value so that we will be able to find the enthalpy value. Okay, that is it is very important and mandatory step. Okay, so the relation of entropy is given like this: S2 equal to S2 dash, that is saturated vapor entropy, plus Cp specific heat into Ln, that is natural log to the base E by of T2 by T2 dash. Now T2 dash is nothing but condensing temperature. Here we have taken it, and T2 we have to find out. Okay, and on left hand side, S2 is equal to S1. Since it is a isentropic process, S2 equal to S1, this value is also known, 1.7476. So by putting all these values, S2 dash from here, Cp from here, and temperature. Now this is the ratio of temperatures. So we have to use the absolute scale of temperature, that is in Kelvin. So T2 dash in Kelvin, that is 313 Kelvin. Okay. Now by solving this equation in the logarithmic form, we have simplified by using e raised to this form. So we obtain T2 as 323.23 Kelvin in degrees Celsius, 50.23 degrees Celsius. Okay, which is greater than 40 degrees Celsius. Okay, so this is the mandatory step. This is very important step in solving the problem with the help of property tables. Okay, now we have to find the enthalpy H2. Okay, now see at the diagram again. To find the H2 at this point, we are having the available data up to this part, that is H2 dash. Up to this part it is available. Okay, that is saturated vapor enthalpy at 2 dash at the same pressure. Okay, whatever this part is the additional, that is enthalpy of superheat, that we have to add to this. Okay, so it will H2 will be given by H2 dash plus enthalpy of superheat. Okay, So this is how it is given, H2 equal to H2 dash plus Cp into T2 minus T2 dash. This part is the enthalpy of superheat. Okay, Cp is we have taken from the table. T2 minus T2 dash, this is the degree of superheat. This is known as degree of superheat, that is temperature rise above the saturation temperature is always a superheat. Okay, by putting the values like this, we obtain enthalpy H2 431.037 kilojoule per kg. Okay, so these steps are very important to find, first to find T2 using this relation, and then to find H2 by using this relation, by adding the enthalpy of superheat using Cp and Cp delta T. Okay, apart from this, the rest of the steps are very common. So state 3 is the saturated liquid at the exit of condenser. Look at this diagram, state 3 saturated liquid, so directly coming here, so values are directly available. Come to the temperature of plus 40 degrees Celsius here, and the state is liquid. Now here I want only or we need only the enthalpy of liquid. So plus 40 degrees Celsius and enthalpy of liquid 256.435. Okay, so this value we obtained and written down, H3 equal to HF3, F for saturated liquid 256.35. Then state 4, look at this figure again. State 4 is in the liquid and vapor mixture region, and it is it will be having dryness fraction X4 at this point. Okay, due to isenthalpy expansion, H3 will be equal to H4, so enthalpy value is same. Okay, now our as a matter of interest, we will try to find out the value of dryness fraction at this point, that is X4. Okay, by using the saturation values. Okay, so for 4 there are two corresponding saturation states. One is the saturated liquid state at this same saturation temperature, and the other corresponding state is saturated vapor state, which is equal to 1. Okay, so for this point, saturated liquid condition at minus 26 degrees Celsius, we can read it out. For this point, we can read out from the table. Okay, at this temperature, come to minus 26 degrees Celsius rho, and read for the enthalpy, saturated liquid enthalpy, which is this much, 166.16, and saturated vapor enthalpy is nothing but H1, that is 382.94. Okay, and difference between this Hg and HF and Hg, this will be latent enthalpy, and its correlation will be given like this. To find the dryness fraction, so H4 equal to HF4, that is liquid enthalpy, plus X4 dryness fraction into Hg4 minus HF4, that is latent enthalpy. Okay, so H4 is known, which is H4 equal to H3, so this part is known. HF4 we obtain from table, Hg4 put from the table. Then by this calculation we find out X4 equal to 0.416. Okay, this is how the dryness fraction value can be found out. So up to this part, it was about to find out the or to obtain the required property values. From this part onwards, it is a usual calculation like in the previous video. So refracting effect will be H1 minus H4. You have to just put in the values that we have obtained. It is 126.59 kilojoule per kg. Work of compression, H2 minus H1, it is 48.097 kilojoule per kg. COP of the plant, RE divided by work of compression, so we obtain it as 2.63. Next part is mass flow rate of refrigerant. It is obtained by dividing the refrigerating capacity divided by refrigerating effect. So QE divided by QE. Refrigerating capacity is 15 ton of refrigeration, so 15 into 3.5167, it turns to kilowatt, like 52.75 kilowatt, divided by refrigerating effect 126.6 kilojoule per kg, thereby obtain mass flow rate as 0.4167 kg per second. Okay, then power required to run the plant, it is the WC equal to mass flow rate into H2 minus H1, that is work input to compression, so it is 20.042 kilowatt. Then power required per ton of refrigeration. Okay, so this can be obtained by this general equation 3.5167 divided by COP of the plant, so it comes as 1.337 kilowatt per TR. Then theoretical piston displacement rate per TR V star, that is kg per meter cube per second per TR. For that we have to find out the mass flow rate per TR, that is kg per second per TR. So it is found using this relation 3.5167 divided by H1 minus H4. By putting values we obtain 0.0278 kg per second per TR. Then V star is the M star into specific volume. This specific volume we obtain from the property table. So by putting values we obtain 0.00527 meter cube per second per TR. Then heat rejection in the condenser, QC is mass flow rate into H2 minus H3, that is heat rejection at the condenser. By putting values we obtain QC equal to 75.29 kilowatt. Then heat rejection ratio is the ratio of heat rejected at condenser to the heat absorbed at the evaporator, H2 minus H3 divided by H1 minus H4. Put the values we obtain 1.427. Okay, so that's how the solution is completed by using the property tables. Now we can compare the solutions obtained by both pH chart and property tables. Let's look at that comparison. Let me take you to the comparison slide. Now look at here. On the left part I am having the solution obtained by pH chart, and on the right part this is the current solution obtained by the property tables. So here you can see, you can compare the answers. COP here 2.5, it is 2.63, little higher here. Mass flow rate 0.422, it is 0.4167, quite closer to each other. Work input, power input 21.10 kilowatt, and in the second case 20.042 kilowatt, very close to each other. Then power required per TR, it is 1.4 kilowatt per TR, and in this case it is 1.337 kilowatt per TR. Again margin is close. Theoretical piston displacement V star is 0.005 meter cube per second per TR, and in this case it is 0.00527 meter cube per second per TR. Okay, very close. Then heat rejection in the condenser, it is 73.85 kilowatt. In the second case it is 75.29 kilowatt. Again margin is very less, and heat rejection ratio 1.427. Okay, by this comparison we find that there is very little variation, or margin is very close. This is because from pH chart we can read only approximate values in the finite in the range of finite numbers. We have no any tool to read out the fractions or fractions beyond the decimal points. But if you look at the tables, now look at the tables. Now look at the tables. Here you obtain the very highly precise values, up to 4 decimal points are available. Okay, that's the big difference, and that's why we get so much deviation in the solution. Okay, but you can use any method, that's your choice. But sometimes to solve some difficult problems we have to use the combination of both methods, that is pH charts and the property tables. So I will stop here, and in upcoming sessions we will solve some more problems covering the different variety and the cases of vapor compression refrigeration system. So thank you for watching till the end. I request you to like, comment, share, subscribe and hit the bell icon of my YouTube channel videos to receive the latest notifications. Again, take care, have a great time ahead, and stay tuned till we meet again in the next video. Bye bye.